Hello, I'm Mike Gomez. I am the Quality Program Manager at SpringPoint Solutions. Um, so today I'm going to do a presentation going over the QM Wizard. The QM Wizard is a web-based tool. It is designed to be used by the repair technicians out on the shop floor, as well as assisting the supervisors out there too. Now, QM Wizard is part of the SpringPoint suite of products and is designed to be used in standalone mode or can benefit the best when used in conjunction with all other SpringPoint offerings. So if you have any questions about what's included with your software, contact us at sales@springpt.com. Now, the Quality Management Wizard, it's a fully customizable electronic checklist and reporting tool designed for maintenance and field service use. So what it's designed to do, we take the shop floor forms that you use in your facility, convert them into digital interactive tasks that the technician would fill out on a tablet, and then we compile all those into the final report once the repair is done. Now, QM Wizard mainly is focused on keeping the employees focused, ensure consistency, promote perfection, reinforce training, we validate data, we increase efficiency, proficiency, productivity, and profitability. So how the QM Wizard works. We take your form, convert it into a PDF, we import that into QM Wizard, and the system will create electronic task lists. So on the right-hand side, you can see a view of what we refer to as a quality manager. This is where the technician would actually type in the results. And you can see that we have different color codes. The black means the task hasn't been completed yet. Green means the task has been done and there was no out of tolerance, failure, or anything like that. And then you'll see some in colors there. And so we color code by yellow, orange, or red, depending on the severity level that you set up. And optionally, you can set those up to be password protected. So maybe if you want interaction with your supervisor out on the shop floor, that can be done there at that time as well. All right, and then as your floor and field service technicians are entering the results, QM Wizard is compiling the report. All right, so to begin, we start with your form. You can start with any kind of format you like. I mean, if your form's already in Word or Excel, or if you're lucky enough, they're already in PDF. But what other format you bring along, we'll convert over to a PDF. All right. The next step, once it's in a PDF format, we'll introduce the interactive form fields. And this is what QM Wizard uses to create the tasks. All right, and once you have all your interactive form fields ready, then you can import into the QM Wizard. All right, when you upload your form into the QM Wizard, we convert those PDF interactive form fields into individual tasks. And a task is anything we refer to as anything that requires a result for the technician to type in. All right, once in QM Wizard, you'll do all your configuration in what we refer to as the form manager. This is where you'll make adjustments on the individual tasks. You can set the criteria for failing tasks, something that doesn't meet a min-max requirement, something out of tolerance, or if you know there's a part that has a long lead time, then you can set up some kind of criteria. And then this way you can get notification. You can also set those failure levels up depending on the severity. Like I said, you can introduce passwords so that way you have interaction with the supervisor, maybe to come back and verify that measurement. Some other things that you can do with these tasks to kind of tailor them a little more for the technician. You can add prompts and instructions and reference material. So you can include customer specifications, work instructions, any kind of task documentation that you would like them to refer to. So like we said, you can link to the instructions, but you can also use photos, reference materials, or even a link to a video maybe you have for work instructions. All right, and so once you have all your tasks set up the way you like them, then your form's ready for use in QM Wizard. So the first step to getting going, you've got your PDF complete and your task assembled. Now we want to create a new job. So In QM Wizard, you can create the job itself when used in conjunction with Motorbase. If you open up a job in QM Wizard, it's instantly available in Motorbase and vice versa. If you create a job in Motorbase, it becomes instantly available in QM Wizard as well. So the first thing you do in QM Wizard, you would click on the Add Job. This is the first window you're presented with. Now, under the first selection there's an option for default. If your location has multiple departments, maybe you have shop floor and a field service department, this is where you would differentiate between what job opens up for which department. We don't have multiple departments, so we're going to leave it set as default. Now, job number is pre-populated. It will take the next sequential number. So the previous number before this was likely SPS 9, and now we've opened a new one and it's rolled over to 10. If you need to customize the job number, you have that chance here to do that. Next thing we'll do, we'll enter the customer name, and then we'll select equipment ID. If your motor has been into your shop previously and you already have an existing equipment ID, then you could select that from the drop down there. If you want to create a custom ID, you have that ability too. In this instance, we just took the next one and let the system generate it for us. And then next, we'll just select create. Okay, so after selecting create, it will take us into what we refer to as our job details page. So here you'll be able to see a lot more information to the job. But the first thing to get going for a technician to work is we need to select a form. All right, and so when you import your PDF, that is what we refer to as a form. So for instance, if a AC motor comes into your facility, you likely have an AC repair form. And so here's where you would assign that AC repair form. And the same, if you had a DC motor, you probably have a DC repair form. Or if a pump, then you have a pump-specific repair form. And so here's how you would assign that to the job, and that's how the technician knows what he'll be working on, as well as all the other additional information fields. And again, if you type these in here, they'll also be available immediately in Motorbase and then vice versa. Okay, and the last step to do is we need to add a piece of equipment to the job. So let's say we received a motor in this case. So we would click on that Add New button. We have plenty of equipment to choose from, ranging anywhere from AC motors to DC motors to pumps. I want to say switchgear, breakers. There's several selections underneath there that you can add. And then once you add that equipment, then you can add your nameplate data. All right, so we've got our job created and the form that the technician will be working under assigned to the job. And so now what's next is the technician is ready to start typing in those measurements. So what he would do is navigate to what we refer to as a quality manager. And this is where he will complete his task electronically. So not only can he just type in his results there electronically, but they also have the ability to upload photos directly to tasks. We've designed the QM Wizard to be responsive, so no matter what screen size, it will scale and auto adjust to what you're looking at. But what we really like about it is the ability to use tablets. So with tablets and built-in cameras, the technician's right there at his workstation and taking pictures and uploading to the tasks. All right. They also have the ability to make drawings if they want to. So maybe if they have a certain lead orientation that they want to draw and document, then they can do that as well. And as the QM Wizard is moving along, we also track the progress. So supervisors can keep an eye in real time on jobs and kind of see where they're at in the process. And then again, we mentioned adding criteria or pass-fail limits onto tasks, and then we can color code those according to severity. All right, and then as the QM Wizard as a technician is going through and completing his task, we keep a full audit trail in the background. So if you ever have any questions about who to go back to, speak with about a result that may be questionable, or maybe something that was accidentally deleted and you need to go back and type it back in, we keep a full audit trail for that purpose. All right, so as a technician is filling in those tasks, the QM Wizard is also compiling the results and getting ready for a report. So you get ready to run your report, your technician's entered in all his results. QM Wizard can generate it, it's going to go and pluck each and every one of the results that the technician entered in and then put them onto your report in their corresponding fields. All right, and then once the report is finished, it gets saved as an attachment. In QM Wizard, we refer to it as the attachment manager. But again, if you have Motorbase integration, as soon as this report is generated and complete, the attachment's available directly through Motorbase and QM Wizard as well. All right, so I kind of went over some brief demonstrations just on kind of how to get, how the QM Wizard works, what the purpose of it is, and how to kind of get your forms in there. We're going to jump over here and we're going to do a real demonstration in the QM Wizard so you can kind of see how it works. Something I should explain is that we have 3 levels of access. We have an administrator level, supervisor, and then the user level. Administrator level has access to everything in your QM Wizard site, and this user level is reserved for the person who will be configuring your forms, setting them up, and getting those ready for use. Now, the supervisor has everything that the admin does, except they won't have access or be able to manipulate or modify the forms. They'll be able to open jobs, add customers, assign equipment to jobs, approve failure passwords, and so on. And then the last one is just a user level. This is designed with the technician in mind. We want to keep them focused and at their workstation. So the less that they have to fumble through, the more we can do to keep them on task. And so this way they just have access to the jobs that they're going to be working on for the day. They'll be filling in the task results and also collecting pictures for the job. All right, so we're going to move over now and we'll get started in the QM Wizard. All right, now you can see we're logged in here to the QM Wizard. The first screen that we show is a supervisor and up screen. We had just mentioned that we have 3 different user levels, the admin, supervisor, and basic user level. So this dashboard screen, when you first log in, is reserved for supervisors and above. So I am logged in as administrator, which gives me full access to all the tabs up at the top. So if you'll notice, I have a quality manager tab, mobile paperwork, attachments tab, where any reports, photos, drawings, or anything have been uploaded to jobs. I could go here to view them. We have the equipment tab. We just introduced the equipment manager as part of this SpringPoint suite of software. If you have questions on that, we'd be happy to walk you through and show you and give you some more details on that. Jobs tab, this is where I would go if I want to create a new job or view jobs that are already opened. Customers tab, view our customer information or add a new customer. And then the administration tab. Since I am logged in as administrator, this is where the system configuration is, as well as setting up your forms and building that pass-fail criteria. All right. And then we also have a huge help menu here. I encourage all of our new users to go through here. Maybe not necessarily read through the knowledge base, but that's a great place if you have a question to search for. But our training video library, we've done our best to try to keep those up to date and keep on each one at least 5 minutes and below, so it's super easy watching and covers every part of the system. So we encourage you to check out the training video library. As well, underneath here, if you have something that you don't think is working as you would expect, we have a direct way to contact our QM Wizard support team, and they'll be able to help you work through that. All right, so back to the QM Wizard in this view. We refer to this as the job dashboard. What this does is for our supervisors out on the shop floor to help with oversight. Okay, so here we have a job widget here. It's called Open Jobs with Forms. What we do here is we show all the jobs that are in progress out on the shop floor. You can view them by status, and then what customer is associated with that job. But here we have a column for progress. And if we actually wanted to drill into a job, you'll see right now we have 13% overall. But if you want to, we can assign departments to tasks. And so underneath here, I can easily see that the machining department hasn't started quality. Really, we only have 24% of the mechanical department going. And usually when I see numbers like this, it probably means we're probably in the inspection phase of that piece of equipment. All right, and the next column here is our attachments. So if there have been any reports generated, pictures taken, drawings or any test data or something uploaded to the job, then we have a link to directly go view those. Now, the next widget here, we have assistance required. We have two different ways we use this. We have a built-in messaging system. So if your technician has reached a point where he needs some interaction with the supervisor, he has a question or needs some help, um, we want to keep the technician focused on what he's working on and not walking around the shop floor and trying to find a supervisor. We want to keep them profitable, right? So what he can do is send a message directly to the supervisor, and it will show up underneath this widget here. Another way we use it too is if you use in-process quality controls, such as maybe a hold point. Um, when you reach a certain point in your process and you want to put a pause on the job for either maybe some kind of quality control checks, or you want to use it as notification that a certain point has been reached, then you can build in a hold point on your forms, and that will show up here. Now, since QM Wizard is web-based and is designed to be scalable depending on the device you're using, you could essentially approve or answer your technician from the couch of your house, right from your cell phone if you needed to. All right, so the next one is our jobs with failure widget. Now, similarly, like you saw over here with jobs with forms, but we have the same thing with the job number, the customer name, and then here we have a failures list. So when you build in your criteria, we can track a job by number of failures. So we can see here down here on this Apex 01 job, we have 3 failures associated with it, but we also have a report we could view. So if we were able to click on this PDF thumbnail, it will open up and give us an abbreviation of what the failure was, who was the technician working when the failure occurred, and we also have it built in that a comment needs to be typed in before work can continue. So bringing this report up, we can see here that this job had a failure on the ground results, the bearing journals, and air gap measurements were out of tolerance. Now we can also see that myself, Mike, was the user who inputted the result of fail. All right. And then we can see it was a password required. So no for that one, but yes, here on the bearing journals it was. And then as always, we require a note before the technician can move on. And so here we made some notes about clean and bake and maybe the condition of the journals there. What's great about this report is we have a lot of people who use this to help quote repairs on jobs. That way they're not having to fumble through maybe several hundred tasks trying to figure out which ones are out of tolerance. So we can abbreviate in a report and help with quoting in that way. All right, so that's the job dashboard. Now I want to take you in and actually show you what the technicians see. When a technician logs in, instead of getting the job dashboard like this, and they're assigned as a basic user, when they log in, they go directly to the quality manager. All right, and so what they would do is pick the job that they're working on for the day. Today we're going to be working under the SPS number 10 job. I did kind of show earlier a small abbreviated how to create a job and open it. And we can go into more details of that later if you still have some questions. If not, I would refer you to our training videos again. We walk you through step by step on creating a new job. All right. So we have our form associated with it. If we had multiple forms, so let's say maybe this job came in and not only did it have a motor, but it also had a small pump attached to it. And we have a pump specific repair form. You could associate multiple forms with this job, and I could choose, maybe we're doing the AC motor first, and then my partner down the hall from me is working on the pump. And so he could select the pump form if we had it associated here. Now, choose department. I showed you on the widget, not only can you track your job by percent complete by department, but I can also use this as a filtering mechanism. So if I only wanted to see tasks that apply to the machine shop, then I could select machine shop here and then begin my task. Again, and same with mechanical, quality department, or winding, or I can choose to view them all. But the way we also use this is when users are assigned the basic user role, you can assign them to these repair departments. So when they log in, that filter is already applied for them, and they really can't step outside of their department. So if Joe comes in, he logs in, and he is assigned to the mechanics area. he cannot go and look at the machinist tasks. He cannot go and look at the winder's tasks, or at least perform those tasks. Because again, we want to keep him busy at what his tasks are for the day and what he'll be working on. All right, and two different buttons here. One for report, we'll come back to this. This I think is self-explanatory. When we're done with what we're doing and we want to generate a report, we'll click on that button. So for the technician, we'll click begin, and we'll be taken into what we call our task grid. All right, and you'll see there here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm really working at a very abbreviated form just to keep time short to a minimum. But these are applied in groups. And so you'll see under motor receiving, I can click on this and actually expand it down and see what tasks live inside of here. Now, if we're ready to start typing in results, I'm just going to start at the top one. I'm going to expand it down, and I'm just going to click on that task, and that will take me into it. Now, you'll notice our task names are up at the top and what department that they're associated with. Underneath that, you'll see that I have task instructions, and I'm prompting the technician to capture a photo of the motor as received. So the way a technician would do this, on a tablet, now for demonstration purposes, I am on a PC, so it works a little differently, but on a tablet, when a technician clicks on the camera icon here, they would be able to see any photos that had already been taken or uploaded here. If none have taken and they wanted to collect one, then they would click on the camera icon once again. And now on a tablet, they would have direct access to the camera through the tablet where they could start uploading and taking their photos. Since I'm on a PC, I am going to have to browse for one and upload it. So we'll take a picture of my motor as it was come in, as it was received. All right, and so there it is. It let me know that upload was successful, and I acknowledge that. Okay, you'll see here I have a small thumbnail of it. If I want to click to expand that and look at a larger view, I could do that. And also there's a little note field underneath it. Completely optional, but if you want to add a note to your photo, then you could do that. All right, we'll hit continue. Now this task was just asking for a photo, so it did acknowledge that my image was uploaded. My color turned green, so it let me know it's complete, and now we can move on to the next. Now the way we navigate, we have buttons down at the bottom. The right arrow, of course, taking me forward to my next set. Left arrow would take me backwards. A check mark would take me back out to that task grid that we were looking when we first began the Quality Manager. All right, and so if we're ready to go into our next set, you'll see we're already starting to change colors here. Green and black means these have been not completed yet. So we'll go into this grouping. Here, the grouping name is called Motor Receiving, and we just have it set up with some checkboxes. So was it received with an eye bolt, where our motor was not? Was it received with a coupling or pulley? We'll select coupling. It did have a shaft key. Received with a terminal box, we'll select yes. And then receive with terminal box cover, we'll also select yes. All right, so we've completed our task in that grouping. You'll see everything is highlighted in green now and changed colors, so it means everything's satisfactory. We'll click on our next arrow to navigate to our next set of tasks. You'll see here we have air gap measurements, but we've introduced some work instructions or some documentation for this. So what this does for the technician, again, we want to keep them efficient at their station and working. So I don't want my technician going around looking for the ECAR 100, you know, maybe through his toolbox, or he has to go to a tool room and check this out. But what I can do is keep him efficient, keep it at his fingertips so I know he's looking at it. And two, I can use it as some revision control. So by clicking on it, he's able to open up, we've isolated out the AR100 section about air gap of machines and what the requirements are. So, all right, we'll close out of that. We'll just start entering some measurements here. Now, if you notice as I type these in, I'm just going to type it in as 0.24. Okay, and I'm going to navigate to my next task here for 9 o'clock. But you'll see you can format numbers so they will automatically go to the significant digit you specify. So that way you have consistency on your report and everything looks nice and clean. All right, and here we'll just enter our last measurement. All right, So now you'll see that I had some tasks auto-populate. So what you can do is set up your tasks with calculations. And so based off the ECAR 100, we knew that 10% above or below the average is our min and maximum tolerances for that. And so it calculated what our min and max were, my average, and then it gave me back here my results and let me know that all four of my measurements are in tolerance. But let's say we had one measurement that maybe was a little low. Okay, so it went back. We'll exit back out. I'll show you my min max, but adjusting that measurement automatically threw it out of tolerance here. And so earlier I mentioned we have different severity levels. You can introduce a password, or you can just set these up as a basic failure. And so this one it's just a basic failure. And before I can continue on, you'll see I can't even click continue until I enter in a note. So maybe we just need to make some adjustments. Maybe we had a bearing drop on the motor or something that threw it out and we couldn't get an accurate measurement. We'll select continue. And then again, you can see here. So I entered in that measurement of 190, recalculated my min-max tolerance, and then it recognized that that measurement is below the minimum tolerance. And now you can see my air gap results have been flagged for out of tolerance. Okay. We'll move on to our next set of tasks. We use this one for winding tests. Again, I have a note here that says readings in megohms only. I've got some work documentation or instructions. So if I click on this, it's going to open up in a new tab. All right, and so here is work instructions and a voltage chart, recommendation test voltage. So one, we want to promote consistency. So maybe you have a new guy out on the shop floor. He's been shown this a couple times, but now he's a little shy to go back and a little timid to ask that guy again because sometimes he can be a little grumpy. And so now he's got the reference right here, and he can look it back up and see how to perform that. And also, you may have your veterans out there that have been doing this for 20, 30 years and have just gotten complacent. But we want to include that instruction for him as well, and just so everybody's doing it the same way. And you'll also see I have an attachment here again for the ESA AR 100. We've isolated out just the testing section of that, so the technician could pull that up, reference it, and see how the ESA AR 100 recommends performing this test, as well as min, max, and recommended test values or test voltages. Okay, so our first task here is wanting to know the insulation to ground at 1 minute. So we'll type in our measurement, and then it also wants to know what our winding temperatures are in C. So we'll type that as 26 degrees Celsius. Now you'll see here the AR100, if we had read through it, recommends that the insulation resistance ground be valued based off of the temperature corrected amount at 40 degrees C. And so by typing this in my winding temperature, it's corrected that to 9.5 megohms for me. Okay. And then again, I have another task over here that has evaluated that and let me know that it's passed, because the AR100 does say that anything less than 5 megohms is failing. And so if we had a lower measurement, let's type in, adjust that to 10. We'll let it reevaluate, and you see almost instantaneously I got that flag and that warning. Let me know, hey, your resistance to ground value is below the minimum 5 megohms at 40 degrees C, and we must type in a note to continue. Maybe we just keep a abbreviated note here. We need to clean and retest. There's also opportunity if we saw some kind of non-conforming things happening with the winding, or there was some kind of damage, we could notate that damage here as well. All right, so you'll see here we did update our value at 40 degrees C and our ground test results. All right, so I'm going to take a step back and let's go back and talk about this camera and this pencil icon. So the idea behind this is, as the technician is working through his repairs, he is taking pictures on the task that he's working on. Since when we were working on the winding tasks, essentially he would go in and you'll see here's the job documentation associated with it. And he could go to his tablet, click on the camera, and would be able to take a picture directly through here. So we are working on the winding, so we'll find a winding photo here and we'll upload that. All right, and there it is. Upload was successful. As you can see, here's our thumbnail for it. and we can click continue. Now let's say if we had taken a picture of our windings and we had noticed that there was a hole blown in it or something, and we wanted to annotate and highlight and document that. Here we have this pencil icon. Clicking on the pencil icon brings up what we call a drawing palette or a different tool. But again, technician could take a photo here. I'm going to have to upload one, all right, and put it on a little drawing area here. And so there's my photo. And here I've got some drawing tools. So I've got a paintbrush and a pen. I can do that and expand my options down here. And now what I can do is annotate and draw directly onto this photo. So let's say I've taken it with my tablet. Here, this is on my tablet screen, and I could just use my finger to maybe we want to isolate a point out on a failure area or something in general that we want to pull attention to. You know, I could grab all these tools, and then maybe if I even wanted to type in a note here, you know, we can make a note and call it blown or however you want to describe it. All right, and now to save it, we'll just come back up here to this area up here, and I'll click this down arrow to download it. Okay, and upload successful. Now, if I wanted to go and look at that, I could click on this camera icon again, and you can see here, here's my original photo that I took, and here's one that I annotated on. Now, something else you can do with this camera icon, it's not just used for taking pictures. Maybe in your facility, you use a search tester that creates and generates its own specific type of report. You could attach that report here to the job as well, and when we get ready at the end to run our report, we have the option to actually include it with our formatted report, plus we're going to have our test equipment's report attached to it. So what I can do here, let's say maybe we had an AWA tester here. I'm going to go ahead and upload that. And if we wanted to rename it, we could do that. Okay, and so we can give it a name. And so now you see it's associated with the winding task. We'll hit continue. All right, lastly, we have a task here, needed repairs. So when we had our failure, we made the comment that we do need some steam clean, bake, and retest. We'll go ahead and check this option. All right, and we'll be able to navigate next. Oh, so one thing I missed here, there is the option that you can associate tools with tasks in QM Wizard. So one, you can make sure your technicians out on the shop floor are using tools that are in calibration, but also maybe you have some tools floating out there that are out of calibration that you don't know about. We can also use this as a tool to retrieve those. So before I can continue on, I did my resistance to ground test. I'm going to associate a Megger with it, okay? And so by doing that, you'll see I've got the options here. It says to choose a Megger, okay? And right now I have 4 Meggers out on my shop floor, and poor me, you can see 3 of them are out of calibration. So I've got some work to do to collect those devices, but a technician, if he tries to use this device and clicks on it, it's going to let him know device is out of calibration, please choose another. All right, and here I can optionally choose to notify my supervisor and let him know I have it on the floor. Okay, and we can color code these in different ways. Green means the device is good and in calibration. We have yellow for 30 days out and orange for 60 days out. And then of course red when the calibration is past due. Okay, we'll select that tool. You'll see now my tool icon has been grayed out, and now we can continue moving on. All right. Our next set of tasks is for bearing dimensions. Again, we've got task documentation included. So we've got an ESA bearing chart. We've got a diagram that shows them the planes and the measurement parts that we would like them collected at. All right. But we can do one step better. We include the bearing chart here for task documentation, but we can actually pull those numbers for the technician. So let's say we have a 6222 bearing. All right. A bearing type, we're going to select ball. It wants to know my tolerance class type, and I have 2 options here. I have ESA and I have manual. I'll go over ESA first. So we select ESA, and based off the ESA bearing tables from the AR100, we know what our tolerance class is and what our minimum and maximum fits are. Now, if we had a if we needed to use a different type of tolerance class, we have the ability to do that by selecting manual. And then say, instead of M5, maybe we needed an M6, maybe an OEM, OEM overrode what should have been, or maybe we need a looser or tighter tolerance for that. All right, you'll see I entered M6 and for some reason it didn't recognize it. So let's just back that out. And maybe that tolerance class doesn't exist for that bearing. So maybe we try M4. We update that. Okay, M4 doesn't exist. So once again, let me try something different. Okay, N5. Okay, so if we went manual and I typed in N5 tolerance class, you'll see that my min and maximum tolerance is updated for that size bearing. So, all right, our next one, our drive-in bearing journal dimension. It wants to know what our measurement is. We'll enter our measurement here. And for our opposite drive-in bearing journal dimension, okay. And again, you'll see that we've got another formula here. It's evaluating our measurements to our min and maximum and let me know it passed. But if we did have one that was maybe a little out of tolerance and we adjust that, and again, you'll see instantly we get notification back. Now, I've set this up in a way that it requires password. So I cannot continue or move on until now I have some kind of interaction. So I will notify my supervisor and let him know that I am needing a password. And so this is a good chance for your supervisor to come over, either double check the measurement so you don't do unnecessary work, or maybe make sure the accuracy of your mics were set. Or two, maybe a good chance for him to discuss the type of repair that's going to be needed for this. Okay, and so I've discussed with my supervisor. He's come over. We know it's undersized, and he's put in his password, so we can continue on. Okay, and you'll see here my task here results updated to fill. Last task, needed repair to bearing journals. Well, we said it was undersized, so we're going to go ahead and select welding machine for this type repair. Okay, so now what we've done, we set it up. Now we've got an in-process quality control part. I talked about using hold points, and I'll exit out and I'll show you how it looks on the dashboard. But so now I've got my job, it's been put on hold, no work can continue on, and I want to notify my boss, and in this case, we'll notify myself. We've got a pre-populated message that we can send to them. Additionally, I can add on to it if we need to. All right, and then we can send this message. And so now my supervisor, Mike Gomez, has been notified that this job has been put on hold. If we were trying to go back in here to this job, we get notification. It does let me know the job is on hold. And if I try to expand or look at any of them, you see that all these are on hold. And trying to access them requires a password before I can continue. So we'll exit back out to my dashboard. I want to show you the assistance required widget quickly. So you'll see here, job SPS 10 is now under a job hold. Okay, Mike is the one who initiated the hold. And now if I wanted to approve it, I can click on go. Let's say I've reviewed all the job entries and I'm satisfied with them. Type in my password. Optionally, I can include some notes there. We'll hit continue. Okay, and then you'll notice that now job SPS 10 is no longer on hold. But if I look over here, I've got a message, and if I click view, it's just going to let me know that that job's been approved by Mike and work may resume as needed. Mark it as read and done. So we'll go back into Quality Manager one last time. We'll go finish our job up here. Again, we're working under SPS 10. We'll click begin. All right, so you'll see through my task grid as things have changed colors depending on severity. All right, and you'll see I have one last task that's been uncompleted. So I'm going in here, and just like we did a incoming image, we're going to take a final image of our motor. Click on the camera icon. We'll go here, find a picture of our motor, all repaired, painted up, and looking nice. Okay, upload successful. We'll hit continue. We know our image is uploaded. We can exit back out. And now you can see in our task grid We are 100% complete here with everything. And if you notice at the top here, we also have this progress bar, and it lets me know that I am 100% complete. Okay, we're going to back out here to the Quality Manager main page, and now we're ready to generate a report. So I would select my job here. I'm going to click on Report. I see I have my template, my repair report loaded. Now, I told you that if we upload external test results to a task, so in this case, we uploaded the AWA test, I can include that additional PDF when I generate this. And so I'm going to go ahead and click that checkbox. I can optionally give it a name. So maybe if we want to call it final report, we could do that. And I can also email it at the same time as I'm generating this report. So maybe if I wanted to send Mike an email with the attachment, I could optionally do that here. And then I can add a note. All right. We have some other options underneath here. I won't go into much detail on it, but sometimes when there's a lot of photos on a job, the report can get large where you won't be able to email them. So instead, optionally, you could email them a report link, which is a secure link that gets sent to your the person you're sending the destination to. They would be able to click on that, open it through the web, and download the report from there. Okay, I'm going to run our report. We'll give it a second here. And so what the QM Wizard's doing, it is going through, it is picking out all the task results that we entered in and plugging them in onto our report. So, and not only just our results that you'll see here for the eye bolt coupling, shaft key, our insulation resistance to ground, bearing measurements, air gap, but it's also put our photos in a designated spot for us. Now, if I scroll down, any photos that didn't have a designated spot, like the winding photos that we just kind of took inside of his job, you'll see get added on to a secondary page here. And so you can see the one that I took and the one that I also annotated directly on. Now, if we scroll further down, you'll see here, here's my AWA test results that have been included while I generated our report. All right. So we've generated a report. That's going to conclude my demonstration on the QM Wizard. We're now going to open it up for any questions.